Just waiting for the countdown timer to reach its countdown timer. Do 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 do. Waiting for the countdown. Do 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 do. All right, all right. So I assume by now the stream started, and anybody wants to join in can join in. So I made a boo boo. So I've got the new M1 Max here, and I set it up, and then I did a reinstall, and then I held down the power button while it was booting up into recovery mode, and then shut it down while it was booting in recovery mode. Now it can get into recovery mode, but it can't get back to the welcome, create your account screen, which it seemed like it was getting into just fine before that. So now I'm creating a flash drive, and I've done this process a couple of times, so I think this is going to be pretty easy. We shall see. So I'm just going to skip down to the part where, let's see, I need to format my drive. So with the new disk utility, we have to click the show all drives. Let me bring this over here. You can see I have way too many drives. And the one that I just stuck in, I don't know what's on it. Let me bring that up here. It looks like this thing called recovery is probably the one that I just brought in. Yeah, and I don't know if that's oh, this is a Microsoft Surface recovery disk is what it was. So we are going to format recovery here. Let me go over here, recovery. Let's see, 32 gigs, that makes sense. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. And we can call it Monterey, I think. Let me, GUID extended journaled. Okay. GUID extended journaled, sure. I feel safe with this. I don't have any other 32 gig drives. We've got backup drives and some SD cards, but yeah, nothing else to worry about there. And cool. So quick and easy, worked. It's called Monterey, and hopefully it should say done in just a moment. All right, so once we've formatted the drive, we need to do a little sudo and then add the volume option. All right, so this should not be a difficult thing either. So I already have the install Monterey yada yada there. Okay, good. Hitting tab auto completes. That means that that's working. And then I need what, dash dash volume, and then give it volumes Monterey. Let's see, is that what I need to do? Volume. Yeah, there we go. All right, should work. We're ready to restart. Cool. So I think it's plugged into a USB 3 hub, I hope. So this should go pretty quickly. And then apparently all I should have to do, because this thing, it's saying right now, it's saying it's got 2 hours and 35 minutes that is just going to sit here, and that seems like a waste of time. So I'm going to see if maybe I can, okay, it's making the bootable disk. I think this is going to take maybe 5 minutes. I think that's about how long it'll take, depending on the speed at which it's writing. But yeah, 5 to 10 minutes. So I guess there's not really much to do here, but that's it. So the way that I got the installer is because I'm on a computer that doesn't already have Monterey, and let me go over to my storage volume here. I keep this sort of stuff hanging around. So I have, where did it go? Install Monterey is right there. And I will put this into, it'll go into media. And then under media, I've got another subfolder for operating systems or data programs or something like that. And so I've got pretty much every version of Mac OS that has ever come out in my media drive. Let me just close out of some things here. Yeah, so I've got a software folder. And then, whoops. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Cancel, cancel, cancel. All right. Yeah, so I've got... and there's another folder I have more versions of macOS. I don't know exactly where that is at the moment, but it's somewhere on there. And so you can see, yeah, I keep a copy of these things because they come in handy. And I should probably label this one as 2021. What is this? 11/26, I think is the day. Yeah. Because I don't know what version that actually ends up being, and I think they've already released a new version. So this thing's going to sit here for a couple minutes, and then afterwards, I should be able to plug it into this. I think I'm just going to tell this thing to cancel. Well, once that's done, I should be able to plug it into this, boot it up, and then it should be a pretty fast thing. And the reason I want to do that is I want to get to the migration assistant bit so that I can... I went through a whole setup video just recently, a couple of hours of me setting up, showing all the different options, the things I like to turn on, turn off, exploring a couple of new options that I didn't know about that I found out during the video. And then also, oh, and this one just suddenly jumped way, way down in the time remaining. So I think the download may have actually finished on that because it just went from 3 hours remaining to 1 hour remaining. So maybe I'll just let that go. Anyway, but I did this whole video on, yeah, there we go, copying disk. So that's awesome. But what I was saying is I did this whole video on how to do the developer setup, and I got everything set up and nice, and then I erased it because it's a lot nicer to just use Migration Assistant. Migration Assistant is pretty amazing. There are a couple things that I'll have to go back and redo, but no big deal. It'll be all right. But yeah, I could stick on the stream to wait this out. But the key thing is, like the article says, once this is done copying, then I guess I'll have a USB-C to USB adapter. I've got one of those, just one of the little straight ones that'll plug straight in. And then I would be able to hold down the finger button, the on button, unlock button, with that in the drive, and supposedly it should boot up to the USB and have that as an option, and then just keep going from there. So with that said, I see somebody just joined in. Hello, welcome. I'm AJ. Feel free to chat with me here because at this point I'm just kind of waiting for this, and it's probably going to take another 5 minutes of just slowly copying to disk, and then so this now went from, hey, how's it going? And so I already borked the M1 Max. It's already, I already can't, yeah. So making a recovery USB. But whereas this said that it was going to take 3 hours, now it's within just a couple of minutes, it went from saying 2 hours and 50 minutes remaining to then suddenly 50 minutes remaining to suddenly now it says under a minute remaining. So my entire purpose in creating this video and following this little tutorial, which I will link to, by the way, let's see, how to create a bootable Mac OS, let's see, Monterey recovery USB for M1 MacBooks. Boom, there you go. Yeah, the last, the one where the developer install one, that stream, I think that went pretty well overall. Okay, so it's been saying about a minute remaining for about a minute now. Maybe it's about a minute, or maybe it is still about 3 hours. In any case, this one is still probably about 5 minutes out, or maybe 10 minutes out. I would imagine if I were to touch that USB, it's getting mighty hot. Although, you know what? I did the stupid thing. And I used an actual USB drive. Don't ever use USB drives. Let me share with you a little piece of magic that will make your life wonderful. Because USB drives they always lie about the speed. Don't ever buy something that's marketed as a USB drive. I'm going to show you. Let me see if I can get this on the screen here. I'll give you a link to this. There it is right here. This thing right here. So I've purchased a few of these. I'll go ahead and give you a link to it. But this is the best USB drive you can get because it's an SD adapter. And unlike USB drives, SDs have actual certifications that they have to follow. So Rocket Tech USB 3.0. And you can get a USB-C version of this, or you can get the USB-C adapter. Okay, and then the best SD cards on the market by far, and I've tested many of them, and you'd think it'd be SanDisk or Samsung, but it's not. It's actually called Silicon Power. It's this completely off-brand company. I mean, most people I don't think are familiar with them, but they have absolutely the best deals. So you could get there, and so that you'll notice these things have ratings on them. If you put one of these logos on a micro SD and that you do not meet the minimum specification for this. So if it says V30, that means that under the worst conditions, it will write at least 30 megabytes per second, which means that under typical conditions, it'll write about 60 megabytes per second. So you're not allowed to lie about these. So if you pick up an A2 V30, let's see, A2, yeah, here you go. There's an A2 V30. Are there any other A2s? Check this out, $15 right here. Okay, and you pair that with one of those little Rocket Techs, you will get better speeds on that SD card than you will ever get on any SD drive that is not SSD. Yeah, so I'm going to put this in here. Silicon Power is the best. Silicon Power is the best SD card manufacturer. I have ordered probably about a dozen of their cards over the years, and they always meet the actual specification. I run the tests on them, and because sometimes a manufacturer will do a first run and it'll all be good stuff, and then they'll do a later run and they'll switch the quality. So when the review units go out and the first 1,000 customers or 10,000 customers get it's all good stuff. But I've bought these over the course of years, and they are far more consistent than SanDisk, because SanDisk will play those BS games. But in my experience, Silicon Power has always outperformed everything else, or at least been equal to it. And it's been consistent. Every single time I buy one of the Silicon Power SD cards, I get the same level of quality and performance. So anyway, and this one that's on here right now, I think it may have been one of their USB drives, but USB drives always a lie. You will notice if you look at the reviews for let's just say USB drive, and let's take one of the the big names, right? SanDisk. You'd expect, oh, SanDisk is going to give me something that's good quality, and oh yeah, look at all these ratings. Oh, 90,000 ratings, 5 stars. No, go look at the comments, because what you'll see is when you look at the comments, there's always a post. Somebody's got a picture of the performance, and then yeah, there you go, 1-star review, and it'll be the top review because they lie about the performance. So you'll notice, oh, that's kind of surprising. But yeah, whereas if you look at the performances of the SD cards, they have a rating. If it has the V30 logo, it must perform to that specification. So anyway, okay, this has been about a minute remaining for quite a while now. I'm wondering when this minute is going to end. It's a very long minute. Quite long minute there. And I want this minute to end because I want to reboot this, and I want to start the migration assistance, and then I'll do another stream where I just show you how to do migration assistant. I don't know why, because I'm doing it and I'm in front of the camera already. So SD card and USB drive use the same tech under the hood? No. It's kind of, sort of. USB drives use the reject memory, whereas SD cards use the memory that passes QA. That's kind of it. So in an SD, in a USB drive, you'll get they'll do tricks where they'll put multiple chips on there, and one chip will be one that matches spec on speed, and then the other chips won't. So when you start to write to it, you get this great performance. But as you continue to use it, once you've used up that first chip, you get really crappy performance. So yeah, USB drives are never worth it, and SD cards typically are worth it. Okay, what has it been 10 minutes now that it's about a minute remaining? I don't know what to do here. I guess I don't have anything that I can do. It's just sit here and wait. And this one, 100%. How long is it going to be at 100%? You know, I just, what I wish is that they would get to 50%. They would just go up to 50% and then just keep the incrementer going. And then suddenly, you know, it gets to 55% and it's just done. Rather than the, you know, yeah, 100%. And then about a minute remaining. And then, you know. So anyway, for those of you that are just joining in, I was just going on a rant/rave about how you should always buy Silicon Power SD cards and the Rocketech adapter, which I've linked in the comments there. And you should never buy a USB stick because despite, and Amazon lies about the daggone stars, but if you go look at any of these in the comments, you'll see the performance reviews. All USB drives lie. All of them. 100%. You will never find a good USB drive, whereas Silicon Power and almost any SD card that has the V logo, V30, V60, V90, and the A logo, A1 or A2, almost any of them that have that logo will, they will be right, but particularly Silicon Power has been the best one. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the whole Apple status order thing. Yeah, so we can take a minute to talk about that while I'm sitting here at 100%, just waiting for nothing to happen. So what they did is they essentially sent you in the email, the link essentially has a password or a token. When it hits the server goes and looks up that token in the database, and then it's retrieving your order information. And so then it comes up with a very, very long string that looked like it was base 64 encoded. And it puts that in the URL. So when it loads the page, the JavaScript is then grabbing that big string from the URL, and then it is selecting the correct options based on the data. So I would not be surprised at all if we just took that. In fact, this would be really cool to do. If you just went to, oh, good. This worked now. Great. But let me go here. If you went to base 64 decoder, if you took the part of the URL and you put it into some online base 64 decoder, let's see. There used to be one that I really liked. I don't know what happened to it. What is all this? Yeah, but if you just put it in here, you might find out that it's JSON, or it might be something that's pretty easy to understand. It's not encrypted, it's just encoded for a URL. That's likely what's happening. Of course, I'm being completely speculative, I'm guessing, but I'm going to call it. That's what it is. Okay, so we're now going to eject this, although, would like to get this as an ISO. The problem is that it expanded out to the full size of the disk. So if I get this as an ISO, I'm going to end up with a 32 gigabyte ISO. Maybe if I zero out the rest of the disk. No, I can't do that because it's a read-only volume and it's not going to have the... I do have a process. I created this thing, bootableinstaller.com, and I haven't updated it in a while, But if I go here, I could grab, let's see. Yeah, I need a bootable DVD. We'll go with Catalina, because the instructions should be the same. So what I should be able to do is copy and paste these instructions. Let me go ahead and try that. And we should be able to turn this into an ISO as well. So let's just do this real quick. So that's not going to be big enough. We're going to need a volume that is of size, was it 14 gigabytes about? We'll see if this is big enough. We'll call this Monterey. Monterey. All right. And then, all right, well, I'm just going to go through these couple of steps here. And this should end up with us having, oh no, I don't want that to be called Catalina. I want it called Monterey. Temp Monterey.img. And then I mount it. And then, let's see, mount the disk image. Okay. We're going to call it Monterey. Is that what this was already called over here anyway? Install macOS Monterey. Yeah, install macOS Monterey. So I actually want to eject this one at this point. And then we'll call this Monterey. Okay, so that should work. Good, that worked. And now we're going to take same thing we just did. But we're going to replace Catalina with Monterey in both of these locations, and this should work. So let's go with Monterey here and Monterey. I should just go update that website with Monterey. Okay. An additional 12. What did I make this one? Additional 12 gigabytes is needed. What size is it then? Disk util. Let me bring up disk utility. I think that's already here behind, isn't it? So I have this as, I'm a few gigs short, I would say. All right, let's get rid of that one then. So we're going to delete that image. And we're going to go back up. And I'm a 0 short, it looks like. So we're going to add another 0 there. And let's just make this 13. That'll probably be good enough. Let's see. Or could we do... I'm going to try 12.5. I'm just going to see if that works, because with the megabytes and all that stuff. All right, let's see if this will work. Okay, and this has been sitting at about a minute for quite a long time now. Okay, so after about, 20 minutes of sitting at about a minute, it looks like it's rebooting. So let me see. In a moment, we might be able to bring this up on the screen. I'm going to see if I can bring it up on the screen now. Okay. So that's not showing as plugged in. That's okay. I'm going to see if... I think we can pull this one out. So D-Larn, did that answer your question? Are you trying out that base 64 decoder? Okay. Let's see, is it coming up? All right, so this no signal screen is the other MacBook here. Do 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 do. Ba-do-do-do. I'm going to do this mounty bit again. All right, so we created that. We're going to rename it to Monterey. I'm going to do the mounty bit. No, this is the mounty bit that I'm going to do. So that should only take a second. And then I'm going to run the create installer without interaction bit. Okay, 1.21 gigabytes is needed. Good. So I am going to try that. Just disk. All right, so we're going to get rid of that. All right, so I think it's fair to say that we probably want to create this thing at about, because what did I just create it at? I just created it at 12.5 gigs, and it says it needs an additional 1.2, which means that going all the way to 14 gigs is probably about right. Probably won't be too much waste that way. Oh, whoops. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way because it is not. I'm gonna copy and paste this. Let's see, copy, and then we're gonna paste. I guess we're gonna paste a reference. It says, but can I just make this smaller? So maybe if this thing starts to show up, we'll take a look at it. And I'll check the comments in just a second too. All right, so we're going to have that hanging out there up in the corner, I guess. And if that pops up and starts doing something, we'll do something. Yeah, I don't know then. It could be some other type of token. It's hard to say. All right, so we're going to move that one. We're going to mount this, and we're going to run the creation media tool. Cool beans. All right. So here's how you make the ISO. How to make Monterey ISO. And then we're just gonna swappy Monterey and Monterey and Monterey, and we're just gonna rename everything from Catalina to Monterey, and it's exactly the same process as creating with Catalina, thankfully. All right, there we are. Boom. So if anybody else wants this, here we go. Boom. How to create a bootable Monterey ISO. And I'll go throw that up on Twitter as well. All right. Okay. Cool. Well, let me see. Where did that thingamabob go? I need to get the little adapter for this for USB-C. Give me a second here. So it's still, seriously, it's still not getting us connected to see the setup.
macOS contains a built-in screen reader.
Hey, shut up. There we go. So, this thing, USB-C, USB drive, plugging it in. I'm going to click back on here. So here's the moment of truth. I'm going to have to show it to you this way. Oh no. What did it do? I kind of just wanted it to shut down. Can I just get it to shut down? That's really all I want. Okay, so now let me get these other things out of the way so we can show the moment of truth as it happens. Whoops. So let's get that out of the way. And I guess we'll have to get... Nope, not that. This one. Yeah, let's get that little mini one out of the way too. Okay. So, moment of truth. We just hold our finger on the power up button, and it says continue holding for startup options. And if all goes well, it says loading startup options, so I can stop holding now. And then if all went well with that USB installer, then we should see it. There it is. So install macOS Monterey. That's the USB-C right there. So this was successful, in fact. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Okay, and now we can boot up with Macintosh HD. So I'm going to go continue that. I'm probably going to stop this stream and then begin another stream in just a second, because I just want to show the migration assistant process. And that's going to boot up to that. And let's see, let me go back over here. So here, I should be able to go to disk and say, let's unmount that. And now my Monterey ISO, where'd my Monterey ISO go? What was my last 2 steps here? Okay, so it should be temp Monterey IMG. I'm going to put this on volumes, storage, media, software. Blah, 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 blah. Monterey 2021 1126.iso.
There we go. VoiceOver quick start. VoiceOver speaks to...
No, I don't want VoiceOver. Press escape to hear. No, press escape should cancel, not let you hear more. All right, anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna cancel this stream. I'm gonna rename the stream real quick, and then we're gonna start it up again. Live. Okay. Monterey Migration Assistant for transfer. Let's see. Transferring my dev setup with Monterey. I don't. Blah, 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 blah. What should I title this thing? Using Migration Assistant to transfer my dev system to my new M1 Max. MacBook Pro. All right. Okay, I'm gonna end this stream. I'm gonna start a new one. You can join back in if you like. All right. Thumbs up if you got them. Thumbs down if you don't. Click all the things. Yada yada. You know the drill. Adios.